Welcome to SoCal Surf with Dan Nappy. Well, we're back in the water today, Huntington Beach, north side. So looking pretty good, pretty glassy, real smooth, about, let's say, waist to shoulder high, with occasional head high sets coming in, which I was able to get a couple of, so I was pretty stoked about that. But to start off, it wasn't our regular crew, it was Mike wanted to go, and I was, so me and Mike went. I went and picked him up because he's having his car redone, and so I went and picked him up, went down to the beach, but he hadn't surfed in quite a while. I mean, I hadn't surfed in a week, but he's hadn't surfed in like a couple of months. So he only lasted about an hour in the water. And I always say this, that I'm going to, go back later. And I never do. But today I did. I took him home, and then I took my car home, and I jumped on my bike, and I went back, and I surfed for another hour or two. So I surfed from 7 till about 10:30, and it was awesome. It was really good. Stayed smooth and glassy the whole time. So I had a little break in between. I mean, I went at 7:30, got out of the water about 8:30, dropped off Mike, got back by 9. So I was back in the water already by 9, and then I surfed till about 10:30. So overall, about 2.5 hours in the water. So it was really good, 2.5 to 3. I'll have to do the math on that later. But caught my first wave was a right towards the pier, and it went for a real long time. So that was kind of my best ride in the morning session. Had a few lefts that didn't last very long, and then really never got really hit with any big sets. I was able to paddle out in between and a couple of miniature duck dives. And then after I took Mike home, went back, the waves were still smooth and glassy. There was no wind. The sun was coming out. Water was a little colder. When I got out at 7, 8 o'clock, whatever it was, 8:30, my feet were cold and a little bit numb. So the water temperature dropped quite a bit over the last week, and I think it's because it's been raining and storming and just kind of churning up the cold water. So it was pretty cold. When I went back the second hour there, it was a little warmer. My feet didn't freeze, but it felt a lot better because the sun was out. And so it's getting warmer. It's supposed to get warmer the rest of the week. So my second session, I stayed right next to the pier because everybody was drifting down. I was the only one there, so I stayed, and I really didn't have too much trouble. I had one guy that almost ran me over for no reason. I don't think he was a very good surfer, and he didn't really have control of his board, and so there was nothing he could do, and I just duck dived under him, so that's just the way it is. But I caught a lot of lefts off the pier, and the drops were great. They didn't last long. They kind of fizzled out after a turn or two. Occasionally I would drift down a few, 50 or 60 yards north of the pier and caught a couple where the rides lasted a little longer. And so right by the pier, they weren't long rides, but they were steep drops. Then it would fizzle at the end, maybe get a turn or two in. But it was easy to paddle out because you just go right straight towards the pier, and the current pulls you out. If you stay alongside the pier, the waves don't break there, and the current kind of pulls you out, so it's real easy to get back out. I only had to paddle out through the whitewater once, but the rest of the time I was able to get over to the corner and get out easy along the pier. And so I got a lot of lefts that are short. I got a couple of good rights as well, but when I drifted a little further north. And I knew that we had some visitors down, a family from various parts of the country, and they were, going to walk the beach, I figured. So I kept looking for them. I didn't see them. I kept looking on the pier, and they didn't show up on the pier. And then I caught a wave. I think it was the left. Yeah, I caught a real good left, and paddled back out. And then when I looked back on the sand, because I heard some kids screaming. They scream when they get the waves hit them in the cold water, but it was just fun screaming, not tragedy screaming. And I looked on the shore, and that's when I saw Nancy just waving her arms around and jumping up and down. So I looked for another wave to get in, and it came to me, and it was a right. It wasn't very big, but it was a long right. It kept going towards the pier. Then after it went for the pier a while, then it kind of peeled back to the left and rode it a little more towards the left, and that brought me all the way to the sand. I had to ditch the board in the shore break so I wouldn't run into the sand. And that was it. So I surfed a long time, and they were able to get some pictures. Alice was with them, and so Alice took some pictures. And so I'm going to post that on this chapter here. This 85, 85. So I'll go ahead and post that up there for all to see. So, and then I'll put it on Facebook. But yeah, I got some pics, which is rare because I'm usually the one taking the pictures. So very good. So good day today. Excellent surf, smooth and glassy. A lot of peaks, left and rights. I ran into several, not just Mike, but I ran into Eric and Jason and his son, and there was a lot of people out there today that I knew. So that makes it a little more fun. And had some good waves. The current wasn't that strong where you had to exhaust yourself trying to stay by the pier. It was a little bit of a push out and to the north, but I was able to stay in that area. I think I did. I got out once and walked back. Had a long left, and I didn't feel like paddling out through the whitewater, so I went to the shore and walked down to the pier and paddled out there. So much easier. Okay, until next time, we'll see what's up. Thanks for listening. Check out our sponsors, nappyclothing.com, Merch Hero, and Task Bullet. And, of course, Swing Easy Hammocks.